Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Wednesday Night Symbaroum here on Telling Tales. It's been going for a while now, and well, tonight is no exception to that mostly regular rule. We have just started playing The Darkest Star. It's a third installment of the Throne of Thorns campaign. And we had some pretty dramatic happenings last week. But before we start talking about those, let's go ahead and get the blurb over and done with so we can start bringing people on. If you check down below, there's all sorts of links to things you might like, Discord, social media, that kind of thing. Check it out if you're interested. Check out our YouTube if you want to see a vast collection of role-playing video on demand. There's an awful lot of stuff that we've played, lots of different systems, lots of different games, lots of different campaigns. Have a look at that if you're interested. If you're not interested at all and only interested in what's happening at the moment on the channel, well, then there are a few things. Obviously, this is Wednesday Night Symbaroum. We stream most weeks. There is also a Monday night stream of Masks of Nyarlathotep. That's a very renowned Call of Cthulhu campaign with Johnny and the Monday crew. We also have Yellow King, which is usually every other Thursday. It's on hold for the moment, probably until January. A lot of stuff is going on hold, including one-shots as well. We did have an Electric State one-shot planned for this weekend coming, but that's not going ahead now. It's just life stuff. Very busy, primarily me. So that's just how that is. That's life, folks. Okay, let's start bringing on the players, and then we'll do the smallest of recaps, and we'll carry on moving forwards. So first up tonight, we have good old Chris, who plays good old Steo, former infantryman and city guard turned sellsword. Chris, on a scale of 1 to 10, how shocked and surprised were you that the call to adventure in the Darkest Star revolves around a horrific natural disaster happening near you?
Oh, do you know what? I'm going to be positive. It's going to be fun. I'm gonna be fine. I got all of my calling them hacks out of my system at the end of last session. And besides, like last time it was from underneath, this time it's from above. It's completely different.
It's precisely the opposite. Yeah. So what could be more different than that? Okay, let's bring on our next player. It's Stephen. Stephen plays Alindra, former Templar novice, turned, you guessed it, sellsword. Stephen, how about you? Are you still in shock that I and Free League would just throw such an awful thing at you mid casual scene?
Yes, I've spent the past week in a state of constant shock. But now I've gathered myself together and I've realized what the party needs to do, which is, of course, wage war on gravity itself, the cause of all these problems.
Seems like the right thing to do. And I'm sure we will open up to a scene of Alindra viciously thrusting her sword into the ground. Just, take that, mass.
Yeah, I thought I'd do a cunning roll to work out where gravity is so that I could go and fight it.
Yeah, a kind of avatar of gravity. Gravatar, if you will.
Sure.
Oh, yes. Shouldn't have said that. So, let's bring on the next player. It's not like an obscure slur or something. Just regretted it. So, let's bring on John. John plays our next character, Sir Arindar. Kind of disinherited noble duelist, fancy man with a cat. John, how are you feeling about sudden inevitable betrayal narratively? Good stuff. Let's bring on Sam.
That was an intentional understatement. I am actually quite shocked.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Shocked and hurt?
No, I think I expected something.
Fair enough. Let's wheel on our final player. It's Sam. Sam plays Askarai, changeling scout and archer, and sort of I would say the most increasingly reluctant member of the group as a whole. Well, Steo just wants to go to the forest. I think Askarai is increasingly wondering why he's tied his flag to these crazy Ambrians. But there we go. Sam, how are you feeling about the meteors?
Uh,
Meteors.
I think concerned is the immediate reaction to meteors hitting the town that you're in.
That's fair.
That's what Asker's feeling. He's desperately hoping that Barrymore wasn't in that church.
Oh my god. Right, Asker's dying.
No, I think concerned. Obviously, I mean, I don't know how you'd be very shocked. You'd be very surprised. This seems really bad, really very, very bad.
At the very least, not good.
At the very least.
At the very least, not good. Okay, then. There we go. All right, let's do maybe a little bit of recapification. So essentially, the first parts of the Throne of Thorns happened, and as a result of that, you found yourself in Yndaros, the capital of Ambria, where your vague notion is to search the all the various old spaces below the city, or certainly enough of them, of these old Lindarian ruins, until you can maybe find further clues to what seems to be maybe the resting place of a Symbaric emperor that might be able to then lead you further to the location of Symbar itself. Would we say that's a fair summation of 2.5 years of play so far, in terms of what you're doing? Yep, there we go. As for how to achieve this, you'd you've only just arrived in Yndaros, and you basically had just met up with a contact, a rather dubious contact. He didn't seem to know a huge amount about the ruins of Yndaros underneath Yndaros. And as you were doing so, to your surprise, the nearby Cathedral of Martyrs, where a wedding rehearsal was being carried out, a wedding of the royal family of Kohinoor to the Hive Chieftain's family, was the Cathedral of Martyrs, there's no other way to say it, was struck by meteors, which slash comets slash asteroids. I'm sure at least one of them is wrong, but yeah, rocks from above. And you were all blown across the meeting room you're in of the Victory Vault. Yeah, and Elindra was even more surprised at it, because Elindra didn't see it happening. But there we go. And that more or less puts us in a place to start. And I would like to start by working out what happened by being banged around this room. And I would like all of you, and whatever the characters you represent, I don't know who's playing Anton tonight, to roll a d4, and that is the damage you take. No armor for being blasted into a wall or to a floor by a shockwave, unsurprisingly.
Well, happy to say I rolled a 4. By happy, I mean just angry.
Good stuff. Good start.
I don't suppose armor does anything, does it?
Well, if only I hadn't just said that it doesn't.
Oh, apologies. I'll roll for Anton as well.
Although John was... Sorry, what were you saying, Stephen?
I was going to say Elindra took 1 damage and Revelia took 2.
Okay. The reason John didn't hear about the armor was because he was researching that if it hits the ground, it's a meteorite. So, there we go. And also, Sam's cam might be fucked for the day, but he's still with us, folks.
Yeah, not looking good cam-wise. But I did only take 1 damage, so swing some roundabouts.
Mixed.
Aaron and Anton both take 3 damage, as does Ferren. This D4 has it in for me.
There we go. Okay, folks. Elindra is probably very, very confused. The rest of you know what happened, but regardless, you're all picking yourselves up. If you want to pick yourselves up, you're battered, shocked. And I would say Elindra can probably see better than the rest of you. Because while you did see a flash of light, you weren't looking. directly at that release of energy as the meteors hit the dome of the Cathedral of Martyrs. So, role play, I guess. Oh, and the windows are blown in, so you can hear and see everything perfectly fine. The cloud of smoke and dust rolling off the cathedral, almost probably partially obscuring your view of it right now.
What is I suppose I can't. I don't have the. I want to know what the state of our informant is, but Steel can't even see him right now. So
Sure. For what it's worth, Idolo is has also been pitched into a wall and is clambering back to his feet, kind of shaking his head and blinking and looking as stunned and alarmed as the rest of you generally.
I think Alindra, being marginally more on her feet than the others and also more in the dark about what just happened, will probably run to a window to try to kind of look out and see if she can figure out what's happened.
Sure. And you know what? I'd said you've got a good view from where you are, but there is also a cloud of dust erupting around the cathedral now. So you know what? Let's just roll a vigilant roll, and we'll see if you can pick up on what's going on.
All right. Vigilant is 10. And I rolled an 11, so nothing doing.
No.
Okay. But Alindra's at the window with... remind me, this was quite like a posh sort of eating establishment. Did we just bring weapons in here? Were we disarmed?
You can go in armed. It's no one said they weren't walking the city armed. One person said they were walking the city without their armor.
That would be me.
That would be you.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I'm happy for you all to be armed.
So sword is probably drawn, at least.
Yeah. What you can see from the window, incidentally, other than the billowing cloud of dust, and you can probably see that the dome of the Cathedral of Martyrs is gone. You can also see dim orange glows breaking out within the dust that you're not 100% sure, but it sure seems to be perhaps fires breaking out.
okay,
So
could anyone who isn't alive please speak up? Okay, good. What the fuck?
I'm trying to think from a whatever time period we will call this equivalently. Are meteorites a thing that we even have a real concept of?
I mean, sure. Yeah. I don't want to delve into one of these existential role-playing whoa, rocks from the sky sort of thing.
I was more wondering, would I think that actually the cathedral is under attack or something? Is it more natural to assume meteorite or artillery fire?
You literally saw meteorites falling from the sky. So
yeah, fair enough.
How good of an idea do we have of what a meteor is?
I just asked that.
Okay.
I mean,
it's all right.
People in the past knew about comets and they knew about meteorites, and then it's fine. It's not like a scientific discovery that meteorites exist, particularly. It's not like people only knew about it after the Enlightenment. People knew that rocks occasionally fall from the sky, and they would equate those with things they saw flying across the sky. You know what I mean? Yeah, I wouldn't.
I imagine it's not dissimilar to the modern times, which is that if a meteor destroyed a landmark right next to you, there probably would be some confusion for a while, because that's just not the first conclusion that you'll necessarily jump to.
Yeah, sure.
Even if you saw it,
well, I don't know. I think if you saw some massive rocks flying towards something and then it's gone, you would probably put two and two together. Who, however, is who's controlling Anton tonight? It's usually either Sam or John.
I can do. I mean, Aaron has Aaron to do.
Sure. Do you want to give me a cunning roll at -3 for Anton, please?
Okay. That's a 20.
Okay. Yeah, no.
Was that a lore master roll? Because I also have lore master.
You do, but I decided it was probably a roll higher than novice.
Okay, that's fair.
But you know what? Fuck it. You persuaded me. Give me a cunning roll at -6.
Such a merciful and
Just
magnanimous
double the
GM.
penalty. Yeah, you might roll
Yeah,
it.
it kind of makes sense. There's no chance. At least it wasn't a botch, though.
Yeah. Idolo is sort of like picking himself up still further and kind of looking agog out of the window. You can hear the sound of like shouts, screams, you can see a lot of people kind of running through the street, mostly away from whatever has happened. And Idolo just kind of like stares out of the window and goes, "The Queen. The Queen." I mean,
What
the
about
Queen's
the Queen?
It was the Queen's sister's marriage rehearsal. It's not out of the realms of possibility that the Queen was in the cathedral.
I'm going to start running to cathedral.
Yeah, I'll follow John. I'll follow Aaron just after a moment of kind of the blood slightly draining from my face.
And even if the Queen wasn't there, people are going to need help, right?
Yeah.
I guess the question is, are you the kind of people who deliver that help? At least one of you definitely is. Anton is probably ahead of Arendar.
Yeah. Ashkai will run towards it too.
Okay.
Cool. I think, yeah, Lydia's probably taking up the rear because I think she probably had a moment of like, how much do I care? And then realized that it just wouldn't do to be seen hesitating in this moment more than that. And
Sure. So you emerge from the victory bolt. Your contact isn't coming with you, is just still staring out of the window in shock. You emerge into kind of very overcrowded streets with a lot of people moving in the same direction slowly and curiously, but lots of other people coming in the other direction. And by the time you've moved kind of through a couple of streets, many of the people coming in the other direction are like white, coated head to foot, whitish grey in dust. They all have wide open eyes and are kind of like making panicked noises and fearful noises. They're not being terribly coherent. You pass a patrol of 5 city watchmen who are being screamed at by their commanding officer to move towards the cathedral, but they're all shaking their heads with fear in their eyes. Are we proceeding onwards?
Can I try just for the fun of it, a good old kind of city guardsman bellow?
Yeah, or a sergeant. I mean, an infantry sergeant bellow would have set you up well for that. Yeah, sure. Give me a persuasion roll. They're reluctant, so there's a minus, but you're good at this specific thing, so I will waive that penalty.
Oh my god! 1 second, I cannot for the life of me figure out. There we go. It's a win.
Okay. Yeah. What do you bark at them?
I'm just going to bark generally, like I'm going to guilt trip them into it by barking the following. It's like, if you're not injured, get out of the area. If you're a city guard, get into the area. Move.
Okay, it does the trick. Their commander kind of like he basically shouts as if you are wearing very good armor. You look like you've got some money. And he kind of takes a glance at you and turns back and shouts, "You heard the man! Get in! Now!" And they do so. They turn around reluctantly and kind of start jogging towards this wall of dust that's basically slowly rolling down the street towards them, which I am assuming everyone plunges into alongside them.
I will take a moment to cover my face with my scarf.
And Tom is doing exactly the same thing. As he's walking towards it, he grabs like some loose cloth that he has, grabs his water canteen, pours it over the cloth, and kind of like starts tying it around his face. He gestures for those of you who also can do this to do the same. I don't know if everyone can have a water canteen, and I'm happy for everyone to do that, even if they have to like rip part of the cloth on their arm off.
Yes, we'll follow suit.
I guess that's where I can kind of tuck it in under his mask.
Yeah. Okay. You enter the roiling bank of dust, and start to encounter fewer and fewer people once you do so. Single guards you spot, or small groups of them, and various bold private citizens seem to be stopped at varying distances from the cathedral, clearly afraid to go further. And as you start stepping forwards, can all of you give me a vigilant roll, please? And while I do that, Rana has asked, is Anton experienced at disaster relief? Almost certainly, yes. From his last months and years in Alberator. But also, the reason I gave him that was not because of that, but just from a lore master perspective, that like the Ordo and the Sun Temple would study this kind of, natural philosophy of like, which includes a lot of practical things like that. Steo made the roll. Also Medicus, yeah. Steo made the roll. How did everyone else do?
Askrai and Anton both made it.
Revelia made it. Elindra rolled a 20.
Okay. Okay, so those successes were Revelia, Askrai, Anton, and Steo, right? All of those people start hearing some muffled noises from further towards where the meteors crash down. There are cries of pain. There are also roars of belligerent excitement and howling laughter.
So, are there many people down, or are we like crossing over fields of injured people here, or?
Not so much. You're still maybe a street away from the Cathedral of Martyrs. All the buildings here are intact, apart from windows. You saw some people kind of like moving out of the area with like wounds, but not like lacerations, right? Like a window had exploded on them, or like they trodden on some shattered glass or something. Nothing huge in that way. But who knows what the actual square around the cathedral is going to be like.
Yeah, I think Steel will forge ahead. Go, watch out, everyone. Someone laughing in a situation like this is no friend of mine.
Mm-hmm. As you start moving closer towards the area, you know what I'm going to say? Can everyone roll Resolute, please? And any of you who have any mystic powers at all can add, let's say, a +3 to that.
Anton makes it. That's right. Definitely does not.
Revelia makes it, but Elindra continues to fail at dice.
Fair enough.
No, I did actually feel that. I had to remember how to do maths.
Okay, anyone that has made it, as you proceed closer to the cathedral, an odd feeling washes over you, like a waft of a sort of heat-like sensation, and an odd like feeling like the world has just slid sideways for a moment. Anton is going to like stop in his tracks a second and say, something is wrong here.
Of course it is,
Hey,
Father.
Anton. We're aware something's wrong.
No, something else. The world feels unstuck.
Corruption?
Like that. I think.
Is it like the feeling on Lake Forgoma?
Perhaps. Maybe when we get closer, I can know more.
Can I make a witch sight roll?
You can absolutely make a witch sight roll.
Cool. I failed it. I'm sucking today.
Okay. How much is that to engage your?
Yeah, so it's vigilant modified by the discrete of like the person or place. I don't know how a place. Really
Oh well, I would have given you +5.
Oh, in which case I do pass.
Okay. As you kind of like step forwards and let the kind of witch sight veil your senses, you are overtaken with an overwhelming sensation that everything here is on fire. It isn't, but you feel kind of sort of banks of like flaming energy roaring around you. Does your use of witch sight engender any temporary corruption? I would assume at least one.
Yes, it does. 1 point.
Okay, can you roll a d4 for it instead?
Ooh, sure. 2.
Okay. You feel the tendrils of it kind of like reaching out into you as you use your witch sight, and those sort of like almost, you can't really see them, you more sense those sort of corruptive fires raging near you, and you feel them flare in response to your witch sight, or more accurately to your twisting of the world to enable your witch sight.
Okay. Anton's right. Something is very wrong here.
Anton nods and says, nevertheless, people may need us. Okay. You move through the street that separates you from the cathedral as fast as you can. Although even with the kind of wet cloth across your face, you're not breathing well. None of you. As you get closer to the cathedral, you can see the like walls of it rearing high up over your heads. As you approach, it's like coming towards a cliff through a fog bank. You can feel the presence of this huge shape there, but you can't kind of see it clearly. You can't even really closely see the level of damage it suffered just yet. What you can see is that most of the walls still seem to be standing. And you can see that the sturdy facade around the main entrance looks to be almost unscathed. But the roof, you can see, like, in the shape, you can see pits and holes all across the roof. It looks to be largely smashed. And you can also see the glint of the large copper dome hurled into a nearby building, kind of in front of the entranceway. Many other buildings in the vicinity, as you approach them, have been hit by smaller rocks, which, along with the shockwave, means that even within this dust bank, you can see that an area of approximately 200 meters in diameter now consists of mostly raised structures. The air, as I say, is thick with dust. The ground is covered with rubble. You are starting to see dead bodies kind of under rocks and parts of the wall of the cathedral that have been blasted away. And you can also see those kind of like orange glows of fires blazing. Although, strangely enough, some of those fires seem to be moving through the fog of dust. Anton seems to be trying to stride towards the front entrance to the cathedral. Is anyone going to do anything different?
Anton actually got into this place yesterday, right?
No, he spoke.
I
think he did go in the evening, didn't he? Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So
and he'll have been many times before. Like he was stationed in Yndaros before he was sent to this world.
Cool. Right. So he knows essentially what the layout of this building should be.
Mm-hmm.
He's seems the least likely to get disorientated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sticking close to Anton.
Okay. All right. Then.
Yeah, but keeping a very close eye on these moving fires around us.
Mm-hmm. Well, as soon as you enter the kind of thickest part of the fog near the front of this facade, it's where the devastation seems the most severe. And you see a number of those raging flames moving through the dust, and in fact starting to come towards you like a group of huge fireflies. Can everyone roll a vigilant test, please? Okay. That's a no for Aaron, a yes for Steo.
No for Ascray and Anton.
And a no for Alindra and Revelia.
Okay, so is that only Steo who succeeded? Okay, in that case, can everyone else make a defense roll, please? At a just a flat defense roll. And let's just go round clockwise here. So Aaron Dar, that's a failure from you.
Yep.
Ascarai, how did you and Anton do?
Ascray makes it, Anton does not make it.
Okay. How about Alindra and Revelia?
Revelia makes it, Alindra doesn't.
Okay. So everyone who failed there, which is Aaron, Anton, and Alindra, I believe, running at you suddenly out of this roiling dust, what you took to be a fire are people with their mouths agape, their hands grasping towards you, and with a translucent orange flame rolling over every exposed part of their body. Their mouths gaping look like a furnace from which some kind of like obscene fire is burning within. And they are they seem to be broadly quite happy because they're making strange noises that are sort of akin to the howls of laughter you heard earlier. However, that sort of joy seems to be around the prospect of setting you all on fire. First off, there's two elements to this attack. First off, just take 3 damage from them kind of battering at you. That can absolutely be avoided with armor. So make your armor rolls for that. Aaron and Anton and Alindra. Oh, Alindra's not wearing her armor, of course. So there we go. So that's just 3 damage flat. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to slightly veer away from how flaming and burning works in the book, partially because I've upgraded these guys, because I upgrade all your enemies because you deserve it, and also because I don't quite like how it works, so I'm going to change it a bit. Every one of you now who has been struck by them is now a flame and will take 3 damage for 1d4 turns. That damage can be mitigated by a armor roll cut in half. So normally armor completely rolls against fire, and no. I could see how it would partly help, but not completely. So in other words, right now you'll take another 3 damage, but make an armor roll and cut that armor roll in half, rounding down, and See how much of that flame damage you take. And then probably after you've done that, roll a d4 to see how many more turns that's in place for.
So that's 3 damage initially.
Yep.
Is that the 3 damage we've just taken, or another 3 damage?
No, you took 3 damage from them flailing at you with their fists.
And now then 3 damage to the fire, and then d4 turns after that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I rolled a 4. The dice hate me tonight.
How did you do, Arendar?
No damage either time and rolled a 1. So there's no more damage, right?
There's no more. You're done. So basically, they've attacked you, and you kind of like reeled away from those kind of like flaming fingers clutching at you, and were briefly caught on fire, and maybe kind of slapped it out a little bit. You can get rid of the fire by using a whole turn to roll on the ground and passing a quick test for anyone who is anticipating taking too much flame damage. Sam, how did Anton do there?
Anton has only taken 1 damage in total so far, but has 3 turns of the fire. So I guess 2 more turns of fire.
Yeah. Okay. The others of you, the ones who Revelia, Steo, Ascarai, you kind of saw them coming close enough and took a step back, dodged out of the way. They don't seem to be particularly competent opponents. They're manic. They seem possessed by something very, very flamey. So can we have combat initiative up, please? John, you can refer to these individuals as fire possessed, and they have a quick of 11 and a vigilant of 15. But we all know who's going first. It's Ascarai. Now I'm going to say there's 1 on each of you because we all had 1 attack. So let me just sign those first. Elindra, Revelia, and Steo. Oh, we didn't have Ferrin being attacked, but that's fine. He's next to you. They didn't notice the cats. That's all fine. So there's 1 on each of you already, and you can see more of those orange glows coming through the dust. So Anton, not Anton, sorry, Ascarai. What are you going to do? Sorry, I keep adding things and not letting people go. Anyone who was surprised, unless you previously said you had your weapon drawn, you do not have your weapon drawn. So you're going to have to take a movement action to do that.
Okay.
Ascarai, you weren't, so you do have your blade drawn. What are you going to do?
So this guy's next to me trying to hit me.
Correct.
Fire guy. Okay. I'm going to try to stab him using feint as best as I can.
Absolutely. You have Beast Law, right?
Yes.
As you have that, go ahead and make a cunning test if you want. We'll also do it for Revelia, but on her turn.
Okay. That was a 10, which does make my Beast Law cunning roll.
Okay. You have... It's up to you whether you've encountered people possessed by fire elementals before or just heard of them. You know that elementals' grasp on kind of the possession of people and animals and things is fairly tenuous. It's not like some kind of horrific demon getting their claws into your brain. You're fairly sure that if these people were knocked unconscious, or obviously killed as well, but if they were just knocked unconscious, or if they were doused with a great deal of water, for example, then the fire elementals would be driven out of them. That doesn't have to determine what you do, but just be aware. And if you wanted to share that information, it's also up to you. Probably knocking them unconscious is going to have, is going to rid them of these elementals. or
Okay.
dousing them in a lot of water, but you don't have a lot of water. So unless you have a plan about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. I think Askray will shout. I don't think he has the time or kind of wherewithal to explain the entirety of that, but we'll shout to the party. They're possessed by fire elementals. I don't know. Try to knock them out. Try not to kill them.
Okay.
Um,
We have sort of tried to bodge together rules for knocking people out before, and you know what? I've actually changed my mind on how we do this. And if I'm basically going to say any hit that goes over a pain threshold, if you want it to knock them out, we'll knock them out. That doesn't mean it won't also kill them, because knocking someone out is not a precise science. So, yeah, that's just how it's going to have to go. Okay, they have a defense, Sam, of -1. So it's not a biggie.
Okay, I need a 14 or less because I'm going to use feint. That is a 14 exactly. I think I don't use my sword enough to remember exactly what it is.
If it's a 14 exactly, doesn't that mean you miss because it's a -1?
I need a 14 including the -1. It's a 15
I see.
-1. Need a 14 or less. I have a D8 +1 plus a D4 because feint gives me advantage.
You can choose if you want to knock additional die. You know, any pluses, like whether that's a +1 or like the dice. You can choose to knock those off if you want to like try and moderate your hit.
Okay.
But you need the core die. You'll always need the core die.
Okay, I won't take the advantage damage in an attempt to not kill this person. I want to just hopefully try and get over their pain threshold and knock them out.
So just a D8 +1.
D8 +1. Could be anything. Okay, a 6 total.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This individual coming towards you, kind of like reaching out and grasping for you again, kind of opening their mouth, and there's this odd, like I say, almost keening, like strange noise. Now you're close up to it, it's not actually laughter, it just kind of sounds like it. It sounds like, again, like a furnace being pushed too hard, and there's a kind of like squeaky keening to it as they're kind of like raving towards you and clutching at you. And you dodge a couple of their swings and rap right in the center of their forehead, hard and fast with the butt of your dagger, and they collapse backwards to the ground. And as they do so, they kind of like give out several unpleasant gasps, and their back kind of like arches and quivers against the floor. And you see the light, the glow in their eyes and in their mouths and around their hands kind of like die off and almost seem to like flow away along the dust-covered flagstones.
Is what is left just a citizen of Yndaros?
Looks to be.
Okay.
An unconscious one.
Yeah.
Or at least like kind of like reeling on the floor a little. Not fully conscious, rather than unconscious, I suppose. Elindra, good luck not killing them.
Yeah. So, well, her instinct is that being without armor and being on fire is pretty bad, and she wants to like drop and roll. But like, I don't know how that works from a combat perspective. Presumably, at that point, I just find myself prone.
Yeah, you'd be prone, and thus they'd have advantage against you. Yeah.
Okay, then I think one way or another, this one that I'm facing needs to not be my problem for a turn.
Yeah,
so
sure.
We're going to go with an attack.
I'm happy, by the way, for people to just punch or kick or whatever and roll that respective die if they wanted to not risk killing people. But I mean, they are quite dangerous, especially when you're unarmored. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I had already said that Elindra had her sword out. So,
yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that a punch is gonna do it. Like, she has a dagger, but like that's not what she's holding right now. So
yeah.
Okie dokie. So
Well, either way, their defense is -1. So
all right, I need a 16. And I rolled a 4, so that's the first actual.
are you knocking any of your dice off your roll, your damage roll?
Um,
I'm
not sure I can. So what I've got for my base for my because I don't have Revenant Strike on at the moment. But what I've got down here for the sword is D12 plus D4 plus 1. So you're saying I could make that just be D12?
Or D12 plus 4 plus D4 or D12 plus 1. You can knock any additional. One thing I would say, by the way, is they do have an armor rating I forgot to apply to Ascarais.
Okay,
so let's just say the one fighting Ascarai looked to be already hurt by something, right? Let's fudge it a little bit there. But they do have this rolling almost cloud of flame around them, and that acts as mild armor. So
okay, I'm going to say that Alindra doesn't want to kill this person, but that her training also didn't really teach her much about pulling blows. So
sure.
I think we're just going to take the D12 and the plus D4 plus 1 and see what we get.
Okay.
That would be 11.
Okay. So that is, you don't have any armor mitigation running there, do you? You don't have ignore armor or anything.
No.
I keep thinking you do, because a lot of I think two-handed force master and a lot of the two-handed stuff ignores armor.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything.
So you rolled 11 in total, right?
Yep.
Okay. But you are generally trying not to kill them, though, right? Are you going to try and not? Yeah. Okay.
She saw that Ascarai had success and wants to do that.
And you do a very similar thing. They kind of come right for you with surprising speed, and you sort of flip your body sideways, and you just ram the guard of your blade into the side of their head, and you feel a crunch, but you don't think you've penetrated. You probably fractured their jaw or fractured their skull. But by the time they hit the ground and they roll to one side groaning, they are still breathing. So, you'll take that, right?
If Alindra, I guess I get a movement action as well, right?
As long as you'd already said you'd drawn your sword, yes.
Yes, the sword was drawn before we left the restaurant. So
yeah.
Alindra's going to move backwards, behind the line.
Yeah, sure. Fair enough. Also, I'm going to make here's a judgment call I'm going to make. If you want to be pulling your blows and knocking them unconscious, I'm not going to allow long weapons to do their thing. I think that makes sense. How would you do that? The whole thing of the spear is you're jabbing them with the sharp. That's why they're not coming close, right? So I think
you need to get more up close to.
I think you've got to be up close and personal to knock someone out successfully.
I can see that, because the business end of those things is a business end, right?
So
I guess you could
go on.
I guess you could use the haft, but then that does take away some of the length. So
and also, why would that stop them going past the haft? I think it's fundamental, and also in the case of Alindra, it's a longsword. So yeah, you're not grabbing and using it. It occurred to me because I thought, Alindra could engage and get the long attack, but then I thought, I think you can do it if you don't give a shit about. If you're not trying to knock them out, you can definitely do it. But
we'll see how the next couple of turns go.
Sure. Right, let's hop over to Revelia.
Of course. Yes. Okay, so Revelia is going to be trying to repeat the same trick as she's seen the others do. That is a hit. She's D10 on the sword, which is a D10, and she's got a 6.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, that is mitigated by the armor.
She can also follow up with a shield bash with a successful attack.
Okay. I mean, you could do that if you want. It won't stack to go above the pain threshold, but because it's individual attacks that.
Okay, but I think she would have felt that the sword probably didn't go. Over the
Yeah,
top.
it didn't. She managed to kind of club them on the top of the head, but they're keeping going. They're kind of like trying to grab at a shield, trying to set that on fire, trying to like reach out for a face.
In the interest of trying to stop this person / thing, I think she'll do that. So that's a separate attack, which I was in miss anyway.
Okay. Probably because they've got a hold of the shield, trying to set it on fire.
Hard to barge someone
with the shield. Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's that. What's Farron doing?
Farron is going to hiss at the one attacking Aaron, but will probably not. Like, he'll probably just be nipping at his heels because he doesn't want to get his face too close to the fire.
Yeah, he's just on flanking duties.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And now it's you, Arindar.
Okay, then Aaron. Yeah, I will draw my weapons and attack the one attacking me.
Okay, that's a -1.
On target of 15. Roll a 14 and 2 damage.
Okay. Yeah, that's not going to achieve anything. I'm going to say you reached out to try and like maybe slug them in the stomach with the. Sorry,
I forgot the advantage.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 damage.
Okay, that's better. Yeah, but still, let's say the same. You basically like reach out and kind of like dodge their swing, slug them in the stomach with like the guard of your dagger, and you send them like they kind of like bend over, and you hear a kind of like roaring huff come from them. You've knocked the wind out of them a little bit, but you haven't. It's definitely not a knockout blow by any means. Okay. And now it's their turn. So, what is going to happen here is that Aaron, Anton, Revelia, and Stio each have. Well, I'll tell you what is additionally happening is that another 6 of them are emerging from the dust and attacking just each of you. Elindra, would you say that you have moved far enough back that like one of these fire possessed would explicably not come for you and would come for someone else instead? How far back have you moved?
Well, so her intention was to buy herself a turn when she wasn't going to have to fight something.
Okay, in that case, let's so you've moved back, a fair like 10 feet, 12 feet. So in that case, I'm just going to roll for who else picks up your attacker, and that is going to be Arindar.
Per Aaron's wee face.
Poor Arindar. So let's start with Arindar, shall we? Aaron, you've got 3 defense rolls to roll. Each of them just flat.
Okay. Target of 14. 20. I started the session resolving that I wasn't going to spend any experience. No, I'm gonna let that one go through.
Okay.
A 15, which is a fail, and an 11. So 1 success.
1 success. Okay, so it's been it feels like a while since we've rolled a 20 on a defense.
It's just extra damage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just extra damage, I think. Damage increased by 3 before armor is rolled. Okay, so those are 2 hits on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so roll armor against an attack of 3.
Okay. D8 plus 1. 3.
Okay. Roll armor against an attack of
6.
6.
8.
Okay, that's good. Now, you're not gonna have stacks of fire on you, but I am gonna say that for every time fire is applied, you will have to roll against that initial 3 damage, right?
Okay.
So what I want is 2 halved armor rolls against 3 now.
Okay. That is 2, so 1.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2 damage. Let me just write that down before I forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3. Do we round up or down?
Down.
So that's just another 1. So 2 damage.
Surely 3 rounded down is 1.
Yes.
So
1.
that's 2 damage.
Yes.
So that's
Isn't
3
that what I
damage
said?
in total. I thought you said 1, which adds up to 2, but maybe you didn't. So you've taken 3 damage in total from the fire, right?
No, I've taken 4 damage in total. Last
Okay.
on the other one, I rolled a 2, which is
Not
a 1.
not including the first fire hit.
Correct. The first attack from this round, I rolled a 2, which halves down to 1, so I took
Yeah.
2 damage. And then
Oh,
here
yeah,
I
yeah,
rolled
yeah,
a
yeah.
3, which halves down to 1, so another 2 damage.
Yes. Yeah, you are right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the number of them kind of like coming at you and swiping for you and generally being a really flaming menace means that you have several patches of fire on your clothes, and you can feel the heat and the burn running through them. It's probably quite a panicky moment for you. Did you have any fire on you continually? I don't think you did because you rolled
No.
a 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although it just occurs to me, we didn't, for anyone who is on fire, we didn't roll their stuff on their turn. So we'll do that in a second. Okay, I would like you to roll 2d4, and the fire is going to continue for the higher result.
Okay. Well, that's a 4 and a 4. So I think it
Okay.
might be a 4.
Yeah, it is.
But do I get my riposte against the third one?
Yes, you do. Let's do that, and then let's fix my mistake from earlier in the round.
That is definitely a hit, and that is 6 damage.
Okay. Can you remember which number? It was the last one, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Again, you managed to collide with like sort of their jaw with like a bladed kind of punch, and you actually slice them open slightly along their jaw, but definitely not enough to put them down. Okay. Now, before we get to the other fire-possessed attacks, let's go to the mistake I made, which is we had a whole round of some people potentially on fire, and I don't think we applied the additional damage. So, Elindra is currently on fire. Is anyone else currently on fire? Not Irondar.
Anton is, but he hasn't gone yet.
And Tom hasn't gone yet. Elindra, that will be another 3 damage to you, and you can
Okay.
knock off.
I just want to check. Like,
Mhm.
there was an initial attack.
Yep.
And then I've taken 1 fire damage, and then I rolled a 4 on a d4. Does that mean does this one count as one of those 4, or am I going to take?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the second of 4.
This is the second of 4. Yeah.
Cool. Just checking.
Why did you take 1? Do you mean I took 1 fire damage as in 1 instance of fire damage?
Yeah, sorry. I took the damage of the initial attack, and this,
Yeah.
and then a fire damage, and then this is the second.
Yeah.
Fire damage.
I was just confused at your phrasing. I took 1 fire damage because I thought you meant 1 point of
1
fire.
instance. Yes, it's
1
3
instance. Yeah.
points each time.
Yeah. So another 3 now, please.
Yeah.
I think rolling on the ground is hovering into view for Elindra's future. Perhaps. Okay. Let's do some more attacks on people. Askarai, can you roll flat defense, please?
Yes, I have good defense, but That is a 15, which makes it just
Okay. Does your feint give you like a counter attack or anything?
no counter-attacky stuff.
No counter attack stuff. Okay. Can you roll 2 defenses for Anton, please?
Okay, that guy does not have good defense. That's 1 fail. That's 2 fails.
Okay. So first up, can you roll his full armor twice against damage of 3?
Okay, that is a D4. Does not have good armor. A 3
Good enough.
and a 3. 2 threes.
Okay, so that's a good start.
Yeah.
However, there's the fire. So can you roll 2 instances of armor rounding down halfway?
Okay. That's a 2, so and a 1. So a 0?
Yeah. No, you keep it as it can't drop below.
Okay. So it takes 4
So
more.
so he takes 4 more fire damage. How many more instances of fire damage did he have?
He had his turn, and then I think I rolled a 3, so he had 2 more.
Okay. He had 2 more. Okay. So let's say that's a 2. Can you roll 2 d4s and take if any of them are over, the highest one is how much he now has.
Okay, a 3. So is that 3 more or 2
Yeah,
more?
That's reset.
3 more.
Yeah. So it's now
Okay.
3 more. Yeah.
Ooh.
So there we go. So presumably Anton is quite what's his toughness looking like? Because I know Anton does not have the highest toughness in the world.
He's taken 5 damage total now, so he's on half health effectively.
Right. Okay. Obviously, I'll narrate the whole fire possessed attack after all of this happens, but we have a couple more. So can Revelia roll defense twice flat, please? I'm surprised how dangerous this is becoming.
Same.
Partly because none of you seem to be able to roll defense for shit.
Yeah.
Well, Revelia's doing fine. That passes the first defense, fails the second.
Okay. Then give me an armor roll against the initial 3 damage.
Okay, that's a D8. That's a 6, so that's fine.
Okay, and then a halved round down armor roll against the fire.
Okay, she rolls a 7, so that's going to be it. It's going to come out at a 3,
That's
right?
good. That's which is good enough. But she is now on fire, so I would like a D4 to see how many turns that's going to last for.
1.
Then that's that. Then that's everything. Okay. Revelia, even with one of them hanging off the shield, maybe that's the one she completely blocks, and then she kind of swings around, tries to catch the other one. They swing for her and kind of just flail at her, but don't really manage to do anything. So that's
She's so badass. She's my new favorite character in the party.
Steo, feels like we haven't caught up with you yet, really. Go for it.
I'm not objecting to the ruling about long not working.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to be okay with killing some people.
That's fine. I think that's a fine choice, especially seeing how much they're doing.
Yeah.
So, if you want to engage long, that's absolutely fine. Obviously, not with the one you were already engaged with, but
no, because I was not surprised. So the one who already engaged with me still entered engagement with me. So
okay, well, let's sort that. You know what? Let's sort that now then. Do you want to do 2 attacks against them at -1 long?
Okay. That's 1 success and that's 1 fail.
Okay. So one of them made it through and the other one not so much. Well, let's roll the damage then for if you're just rolling to damage, let's roll on.
Oh, regretfully, that's a 10.
Okay. That does go over their pain threshold, but you didn't say you were pulling your blow. So I'm just going to ask if you want to get another attack on them or whether you want to knock them prone.
I'm going to knock them prone.
That seems like a fair thing to do. Okay, and they're prone at long range as well. So they're probably not going to be able to manage too much there. The other one you didn't manage to keep at range, so they're now going to come in on you and attack you. So roll flat defense.
That is a fail.
Okay, then roll armor against their initial attack.
It's a 7.
Yep, nothing to worry about. And then roll armor halved for the fire.
That is the armor roll was a 4. Half of 4 is 2.
Okay, then take 1 flame damage and roll a d4 to see how long that's going to last for.
Here comes the 4. No, it's a 2.
Okay, so it's only going to be 1 more, which is going to happen now on your turn. Also, it nearly happened there, and it happened with Revelia. So a mid-combat change of judgment. It hasn't happened to anyone, so it won't affect anyone else. If you don't take any initial damage from the first instance of fire, I'm actually not going to say you're on fire. Or say that you're not on fire. So you don't have to roll a d4. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that would have affected me.
Would it?
Yeah.
No. Oh, maybe, I mean, if you are caught on fire. Actually, you know what? It affected you. Fuck it. You're right, John. You're right, John. Everyone should suffer the fire. So, no, John is right, everyone. Let's...
I am going to say, rules as written, I don't think it should catch. But they're magic fire. Why not?
Yeah, it is magic fire. So, yeah. Rules as written.
I'm pretty sure there are rules in there about fire, or maybe I'm thinking about the rules about poison.
There are, and I have adjusted them already, but they're not
Okay.
what you're thinking of. So, poison is what you're thinking of. Whereas if you're not hurt, you won't suffer the poison.
Okay, I thought I was also
the only
about, like,
fire
acid
rules
or
is
something.
for a weapon quality called flaming,
Okay,
which basically just adds a d4, and then that d4 applies for d4 turns.
got it.
But I've monkeyed with it a little bit because, as I say, I make your fights more threatening. So yeah, okay, that's all the fire possessed attacks, and everyone is just kind of reeling back. Parts of your clothing and your armor kind of like, bursting into small patches of flame on your body. Probably more than one of you kind of like gasping or exclaiming in pain. This is it's hard to express how not pleasant and panicking this perhaps is. Steo, though, it's your turn. That you know what? The fire-possessed individual you knocked them prone at the beginning of the round, so they use their turn to get up, but they're still not engaged with you.
Yeah.
So you are engaged with one of them, and there's another one lurking behind them. Are you just going to try for another full-on stabby stab?
Well, I'm already engaged with them. Where's Steel? Philosophically, where's Steel?
You are engaged with one of them. One of them made it through your long attack.
Yeah, so in which case it doesn't matter if I switch off long, but what's my character... no, do you know what? I think that's overcomplicating an already fraught condition.
Okay.
I don't care who this fellow was. He's probably going to die.
Okay. Then go ahead and attack at a -1.
That is a success.
Okay, then give me your damage roll, please.
That is a 7.
Okay, again. Well, not again. No. Ignore me. I keep forgetting their armor, but ignore me. It's fine. Yeah, you jab out towards this individual and catch them a deep wound across their calf. But they don't seem to notice it in the slightest and carry on making unpleasant roaring noises at you as they move forwards. Sam, what's Anton going to do?
Does Anton have any sense of whether fire elementals would be considered corrupted beings?
I mean, that what does it say What's the phrasing on holy aura? That's the thing. I think it doesn't it just apply to undead and abominations, and they're neither of those.
I think
Okay.
this came before, and it's definitely these kind of elemental creatures are not affected by it.
I
It
don't
is
think so.
abominations and undead. So
Yeah, they are
yes.
not that. No.
I think he's gonna cast, if possible, its shield, blessed shield, on himself and Aaron. I think there's still an argument for holy aura, but not a good enough one. So he's gonna do that.
Okay. Well, that'll be a resolute roll then, I believe.
Okay. Which he makes with a 6.
Okay. What's the corruption for that?
I think it's a D4.
It might be, but don't forget he's got is it Adept Theurg? Means I believe Adept Theurg means he only takes 1 for a
That's
Theurg
true.
power. Yeah, okay.
Only 1 temporary corruption when using powers.
Okay, in that case, roll a d4.
Okay. That's a 2.
Okay, so that's 2 temporary corruption. Okay. Suddenly occurred to me that through that, I probably should have been considering multiple of you flanked for the purposes of those defenses. But I'm going to say because they're very chaotic, they're not really coordinating. So that initial charge meant that wasn't the case. But it won't be on the next round of attacks. So there we go. Okay, and also Anton needs to make another half armor roll.
Yes. Okay, that is a 4. So he takes 1 more damage.
1 more damage. And he's got 2 more instances of that unless he gets hit again. If I recall
Anton is
correctly.
looking, I mean, it's not looking great. He has 4 health left and 2 more turns of taking basically minimum 1 damage.
Yeah.
On his best roll, he takes 1 damage. On any other roll, he takes 2.
But don't forget now he gets the Blessed Shield armor rolls as well. So that's something.
Oh, true. Wait, should I have added Blessed Shield to that fire roll? Because then that's different. I did not do that.
Technically not, because it should have happened at the beginning of his turn.
Okay, so from now on, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Ascarai, you are facing one of the fire possessed.
I'm gonna try to hit them again. I'm still pulling my blow, but I might use all my dice, but we'll see if I hit. That's a 9.
Yep.
So it hits. And the damage was a D8, and then and I'm going to use the D4 because it seems like they need it. +1.
Okay.
That is a 9 total.
And that is precisely what is needed.
Nice.
So the one coming towards you, you know what? You whip out your I've completely blanked on the name of the creature your cloak is made from.
Lindworm?
Lindworm. You kind of roll out your lindworm cloak, entangle their ankle in it, and they go crashing to the ground, where you wrap them sharply on the back of the head with your fist, and they seem to be out for the count.
Nice.
So, anything with your movement action? Drawing your bow, perhaps?
Yeah, I think that's probably my whole movement action. We'll probably draw my bow and then face towards the ones attacking Anton.
Sure, absolutely. Elindra.
Yeah. So did I hear you say before that we're calculating fire damage at the start of our turns?
Correct.
That is a shame. Okay. So I will take. Oh, hang on. I think I messed up my damage there. I will take the third of 4 burnings. I will drop and roll, which you said was that like a quick roll to succeed at that, or
Correct. You need to use your whole turn to roll, and you need to pass a quick test.
Okay. I passed the quick test, which is
There you
nice.
You stop, drop, and roll, which probably makes a bit of a clattering if you're still holding your longsword. But you are free of flames.
Great, and unable to do anything else useful this turn, right?
Correct. Yep.
Good stuff. That was definitely worth it.
Okay.
Right. Revelia.
Mm-hmm. So she's facing two of them still, which means I need to remind myself how flanking works. God damn. So that's an attack at a. It's just an attack at a -1. Yeah. Flanking doesn't do anything to. All the rules from Symbaroum have exited my brain tonight.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. Which issue? The advantage is when they attack,
just
not
to the attacker.
their defense. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so she's going to attack one of them then, I guess, right?
Presumably the one she's already banged up a bit.
Yeah, that is a hit. So that's D10 damage, which is a 2, annoyingly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unfortunately, her shield rams into the flame surrounding one of them and does nothing.
But that is a successful attack, so she can follow that up with a shield barge, right?
Yeah. Go for it.
Cool. That succeeds. That's going to do D4 damage, which is a 4.
Okay.
And also, I think there's like something about pushing them back.
Yeah, is it a contested strong roll?
That's right. Yeah, to knock them to the ground.
Oh, because they can go prone as well. Okay, well, she can make a strong roll at -3 then.
Okie dokie. She gets a 1.
Okay. And you know what? Like, let's Does it definitely knock them prone?
I will find the exact wording. The target is also knocked to the ground. So yes,
so
I guess in combat terms, that's prone.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In that case, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, given that she rolled a 1 there, I'm going to make a quick roll for the fire possess, which they are going to fail. And I'm going to say that they bash their head on a cobblestone quite hard and go still. And the elemental seems to leave them.
Nice. Cool. So that 1 doesn't equate to an additional attack, but just a nicer effect on the more damage.
Knocking them prone with a crit. I'm like, you're falling onto cobblestones. It's pretty perceptible that you could not be knocked out or killed. They might be dead. Like,
Revelia does not particularly care at this point.
No, at this point, this seems pretty dangerous. What's Farron doing with these 3 fighting you, Arendar?
Farron's fear of fire has fallen to one side as he's just like overstimulated by the fire and the fighting. He's gonna snap at the heels of probably the one
you dealt a fair bit of damage
injured.
To. Yeah.
Remember what
actually, did you knock one unconscious?
No, I just injured it.
No, you just injured them. Okay.
There's 3 on me currently.
Yeah. Go for it then. Attack at a -1. You've actually injured 2 of them, but yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're riposte. It's accurate to attack, right? I really need to sort.
Yes,
sheet
by default, yeah.
That's 1. That's a 1.
Okay, so that's an attack with that's a perfect hit. So you get an extra. What is it?
D4.
D6.
D6.
To that attack. So let me know.
Okay. Oh, 13.
13.
Yeah. Oh, Farron.
Okay. Sorry, buddy.
He just rips out a guy's Achilles.
Yeah, no, he basically lashes out and clamps onto the back of the thigh, kind of snarling slightly as a slight amount of like fire singes his whiskers. And then at that kind of pain kind of pulls back and manages to rip out the back of a man's thigh. You know, I'm not entirely sure that Arin Dar knows the concept of ephemeral artery, but the cobblestones beneath you are very quickly slick with blood. And there's a man briefly rolling on the ground with disturbingly human-like moans of pain before he's dead within a matter of seconds. You think the elemental left him before he died, so he probably got to feel it.
Thanks, Matt.
It's all right. Okay, that was Farron. Unless you want him to do any movement. It does mean you're not flanked now for the next attacks because there's 2 on 2, so that's good. Okay, and Aaron, it's your turn. There is one of them opposing you who is still who is wounded, or is slightly hurt. So should you be taking fire damage before you? You're on mute, by the way.
Yes, I am. So Blessed Shield, Anton's Blessed Shield is a D6 now, right?
Yes.
And I'm doing 2 rolls or just 1?
For what?
I had 2 instances of fire on me.
No, fire is just a condition.
Just
All you're
one, right?
rolling when you get subsequent hits is to refresh the amount on you.
It is a total of 7, which goes down to 3, which just...
You're fine. Yeah,
Cool.
You're fine.
Good. Then I will try and attack the wounded one. And succeed with 11 damage.
Okay. Both of them are kind of coming at you, and you manage to kind of like ward one of them off with the basket of your saber, just kind of like pushing into their face and moving them aside. And as the other one comes from this direction, instinct kicks in, and you just thrust out with your blade and impale them on your fighting dagger, and they kind of reel back, clutching at their chest. They give out a wail and collapse backwards onto the cobblestones. And now you are fighting one of them. Okay, it's time for the attacks of the fire possessed. Let's go down this one by one. Arindar. Roll a defense, please, at -1. No, not a -1, just flat. Sorry.
Oh, I forgot. That is a fail.
Okay.
With 5 armor.
Okay, so you don't take any damage from the initial attack. The flame, however, let's have an armor halved roll. Don't forget the blessed shield.
Yep, 3 + 5 + 1 is 9, so 4.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. But do give me a D4 roll, and if it's over the amount that the number of instances you currently have, raise it to that.
It is not.
Okay. Yeah, they come for you. Honestly, you feel like that familiar warmth of Antom's blessed shield has enveloped you, and you almost can't feel the flames now as they batter against you. You're already feeling that more kind of like gentle heat. You wouldn't bank on it completely protecting you, but it seems to be doing a good job so far. Okay, let's move to Anton. It would be ironic if Anton died by fire, wouldn't it? Sam, give me 2 defense rolls for Anton, please. Both of them are a -2 because he is flanked.
Okay, he needs a 5 or better. That's a 3, so 1 pass. And a 12, so 1 fail.
Okay. Now give me an armor roll against the initial hit, which I'd be very surprised if he took any damage from with his Blessed Shield now.
Yeah, he
Can
does have a
I-
better chance now.
I can't
Jo-
see in the
Go on.
rules whether I declare before or after. But can I use my bodyguard to
Ooh.
cover Anton in exchange for the Blessed Shield?
Don't you have to be in the same engagement? Because otherwise you have to like leave an engagement, and
I guess, yeah.
I think you have to be
Technically.
engaged with the same enemy. I can't see how it would work otherwise.
When we ran in, I was right behind him, so I don't know if we're next
You are
to
not
him,
in the
but-
same engagement.
Yeah, no, okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, like I get what you're saying, but otherwise all of our combats devolve into a big melee mass, and that is a nightmare to try and
Yeah.
like organize. Unless you're explicitly fighting together. If you want to use it in future, literally say if you think you're about to be like attacked or you're about to attack, literally say who you're standing next to and say, I will fight with this person.
Yep.
Because I
will
always
do
kind of
in
assume
future.
that Alindra and Revelia are kind of fighting together. The only reason they didn't this time is because one of them got caught by surprise and the other one didn't.
Mhm.
So, like, yeah, is that fair?
Yep, I will bear that in mind for future.
Cool. Okay. Sorry, Sam. You were saying, were we on an armor roll?
Yeah, Anton rolled 8 armor, so I think that blocks the hit.
Yep.
But then there's a fire hit, I suppose.
Yep. Which is the armor rolls halved.
Okay. It's good again. It's 7. So I guess 3, which is enough.
Yep. That blocks it. But give me a D4 roll, and if it's higher than his current stack, replace it with the roll.
That is a 2, which I think is his current stack. So
Then
That's too
no
much.
change. Again, that Blessed Shield seems to be doing a good job, as you might imagine, of deflecting damage from fire. Okay, let's go to Revelia, please, who should be rolling a single flat defense.
Okie dokie. Needs a 15, gets a 9, so that's a success.
Okay, then it manages to defend successfully. Steo, you... Okay, let's deal with the one getting up and coming at you again first. So you can get a lot of free long roll here.
Yep.
So make that attack at a -1.
That is a success.
Okay, then roll your damage. Are you pulling the... No, we've said long rolls. You can't pull a blow. That's fine.
I'm not pulling the blow, but I am engaging Polar Mastery to disengage this player, this enemy.
Sure, but only after you do the damage, right?
Only after I've done the damage, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
6.
Well, then you won't need to be disengaging because you jab out and the tip of your spear pierces this woman's eye, and she just reels back and collapses straight to the cobblestones.
Whoops.
Roll. Steel swinging wildly between each week's hill. We shouldn't be hurting anyone and doing anything unnecessary to, like,
Yeah.
fuck it. Spear to the
Look.
face.
They just dropped some rocks on a really quite pretty building, and it's really musty here. And Steel was about to get a nice pint, and it's been a long day.
It's
want a
been a
hug.
long day, and it's only lunchtime. Okay, then roll your defense against a flat defense against the one who is engaged with you.
That was a big round fail.
Okay, then give me a standard armor roll against their drubbing fists,
That's a 3.
which is all you need, and then give me a half armor roll against the flames.
Rounded down.
Mhm.
So 1.
Okay, so take 2 flame damage. Are you on fire already?
I am on fire already.
Okay, so give me a D4 roll, and if it's a higher number of stacks than you currently have, replace the number of stacks you have with the roll.
So I am back to 2 stacks.
Okay. What's your toughness looking like now?
Pretty good. This is the first significant splapping
Okay.
I've had since we started. Don't
Okay.
Google that word.
Sure. So I could imagine that, like, given that you're wearing plate armor, what's essentially on fire is probably the cloth underpinning it, maybe around your waist, and you can feel like a searing pain running through your hip as your flesh is starting to well, burn, disintegrate under the that elemental assault. Okay, it's now your turn, though, right? So
Yeah, just going to take a hot second because I've been storing a lot of these numbers in RAM and I need to sync to my damage total. So that was 2 damage from the attack.
mhm.
6 left. So
Okay.
not doing too well. Steel, surprisingly, doesn't have a big damage pool. Right, so the one who attempted to get near me is now dead. The one I'm engaged with is surprisingly
It's still up,
not.
yeah.
So gonna have
and of course,
another-
because they're close to you can pull your blow if you want. I mean, you still do the same damage. It's just like whether you're trying to knock them unconscious or not.
I think I still don't think Steel has a good enough understanding of the environment to twig that the other people. That's I don't know.
It's fine.
I'm not going to spend too much time philosophizing. I'm just going to kill them.
Okay. Then give me an attack at -1.
That's a success.
Okay. Give me a damage roll.
That is an 8.
Okay. In that case, they reel on you and jump for you again. You push them back with the butt of your spear, and one thrust in and out of their chest leaves them kind of gently rolling on the floor and spilling various vital fluids out to thicken the dust under your feet. So we are back at the beginning of a round. This is normally the kind of time where nowadays I'd be like, roll for a kind of general morale, see if you like break them, see if they are not interested in that. All they are interested in is setting you all aflame as much as possible. Ascarai, what are you doing?
What about Anton?
Oh yeah, Anton. Sorry. Yeah, sure, he'll be effective.
I mean, fair, but still.
Yeah, but yeah, is he flailing at one of the people attacking him?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, nothing else particularly valuable to do.
That's fair enough. And I definitely would assume that Anton would be trying to knock them out. Just an attack at -1, please.
Okay. That is an 11, which I think doesn't make it. No.
Yeah. What's his accurate?
His accurate is 9.
Oh, damn. Yeah, and I do not think he has any. He definitely is still using accurate as his to hit roll. I think so.
But
doesn't he
because
have
it was-
like the hit back with flail?
Yeah, he does have something. It's not in his sheet though. I don't
It's in
think.
Because
flail
it's
master or something.
it's just the flail effect.
Oh, is it just the
Oh,
flail?
right.
If
quality?
he failed
Oh.
and it's an odd number, then it's a d6.
It is an 11, so roll d6. If flail and odd, we'll do that.
Mhm.
That's a 2.
Okay, never mind. The flail does catch one of his assailants on the backswing, but the chains seem to rake through the fire surrounding them to no visible effect.
I'd like to apologize to everyone for wasting time by reminding Matt that Anton had a 10.
You should have known better. Ascarai, exactly how you're going to knock people out with arrows, I don't know, but
I think Anton seems in a bad enough way that if Ascarai can shoot them and hit them, he's just going to do that, and he's not going to worry too much about whether they're knocked out or killed.
Okay. Are you going to shoot twice? Or are you going to do your armor ignoring thing on one?
I think I will shoot twice. Also, an interesting question: do these things count as cultural beings or not?
Yes, they do.
Okay. I will shoot. I will shoot twice anyway, but I will definitely shoot twice. And I'm going to mark the first one I shoot at as a hunter's instinct target.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say that this is going to follow the same rules for shooting into combat without a thing. So in other words, don't roll a 20.
Okay. I do get 2 tries.
Right? Yeah, that's our rule, right? Is like shooting into combat is like a 20 hits. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't intentionally hit Anton. It means it I roll and see who else it hits in the combat. So you could technically shoot at one and hit the other one. So
True.
yeah. Anyway.
I got an 11.
Okay.
And I've used Hunter's Instinct, so I get a D10 and 2d4? Yeah. 2d4 because they're cultural beings and the Hunter's Instinct targets. +1.
That one is all important.
This is going to be a lot. I literally rolled my maximum possible roll. So that's like
Mother of
19
God.
damage.
Yeah, the one of the ones attacking Anton collapses to the ground with an arrow just through the back of their skull, like right on the external occipital protuberance.
Good job one-shotting that wedding planner. I hope you're proud.
Okay, your second shot on Anton.
Yeah, I will.
Not on Anton.
I will go for the other one, and I can mark a new
Your eyes
Hunter's
got form
Instinct.
with it.
I'll mark this person as my Hunter's Instinct. Now the old one is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is a hit just about with a 15. And damage. Okay, it's less, but still a lot. It's like 14.
Okay, yeah. Your second arrow goes directly into their back between ribs, and they kind of stumble forward and are like on the ground. You think they might be still alive for now, but probably not for much longer, as they're kind of like sort of trying to crawl away from the conflict with like dragging their legs behind them on the floor. So 2 wedding planners down. And we're on for Elindra, who is now fire free.
Yay! I think Elindra is going to make a quick assessment of the situation, how everybody seems to be doing, and the fact that these fire-possessed folks keep on coming, and is probably going to decide that attempting to save the civilians is going to have to go on the, no pun intended, back burner.
Okay.
So she's going to. I don't know what her like options are, but she wants to rush into combat.
There are only 2 of them left. One of them is attacking Arendar, and the other one is attacking Revelia.
Okay, how's Aaron like looking physically?
Definitely a bit more burnt than Revelia, but
I think Revelia's holding it quite well. So I think
sure. You tell me what your toughness is like, Aaron.
He's on 8 out of 15. So if this were D&D, he wouldn't be bloodied yet.
Okay, but like
take that D&D stink out of your mouth.
Yeah, Elindra's gonna charge at the one that is attacking Aaron.
Okay, this is a flank, so give me an attack at +1, please.
Okie dokie. That's a hit. So damage. Oh boy. 13.
Okay, yeah. You bring your blade down in an arcing motion and sever one of their arms. They just crumple into a heap on the floor, briefly clutching at their stump before they pass out on the ground.
Cool.
And then die of shock and blood loss. But that'll probably take 10, 20 more seconds.
Yeah. And for my action this turn.
Oh yeah, that's your engagement. Yeah.
I am going to use recovery, which is I can do a resolute roll to try to heal some damage, but it is an active effect, so it costs me an action.
Okay.
Let's have a look. A resolute. That's a fail, so I can keep trying until I succeed once today, but that will not be this turn.
Sure. I am going to judge. There's only one of them left. I am going to judge that there is a nearby kind of large piece of masonry that's kind of come out from the roof of the cathedral. I am going to judge that Revelia is literally going to move to a sprint with her shield in front of her, push the guy remaining against this masonry and shout for everyone to just like dive on him, hit him, knock him to the like who is going to participate in this?
I'm going to try and participate non-fatally because I was
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
intending
That's
on
her
saving
intention.
that last one.
Yeah, that is definitely her intention.
Sorry.
Yeah, is to like pin them
Alright.
against the thing so people can just punch them out.
Yeah, Steele's going to turn the spear around and give him a solid bonking.
Yeah, she's McCready blaring him in the thing, right? I know what that means.
I got it.
Thing. McCready pins him against the wall with a table while they punch him out. Actually, maybe McCready, does he have the table, or is he the one doing punching? Either way, you know what I mean.
What is this?
In the thing, at one point, the character Blair is pinned against, who has a
Right.
gun and an axe, I think, and he's pinned against the wall with a table and punched out
Right.
because he's gone paranoid, right? Iridescent Area says, did anyone consider water? I mean, it did mention it, but also the rules make it clear you've got to have like, it literally says like a specific number of liters. I don't think any of you have water that can be measured in liters.
Yeah, I was
Um,
considering asking if there are any like baptismal fonts around, but A, I don't really think that's a Prios thing, and B, it probably would have been destroyed.
At least 5 liters in one turn.
Oh,
What are the fire services like in Ambria?
Not good.
No.
Not good. So yeah. Realistically, you're only going to get that from like opening a water barrel or something, right? Like something
Throwing
along
them in
those
a river.
lines. Or dunking them in water. So it's not really an option right now.
Bad news, fire elementals. Good news, Lakeshore.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. Yeah, you've either knocked them out or killed them. The ones who have been knocked out are sort of rolling on the floor a little bit, groaning. They now seem to be rid of whatever has possessed them, but they're also not particularly, compos mentis right now. What you are aware of, the fire possessed seem to be in many places around the cathedral. As the fog bank is like sort of dying a little bit, you can see humans and a variety of urban animals, horses, dogs, small birds, all with that fiery glow around their eyes and their open mouths, basically dispersing from this area of devastation at quite high speed. You can hear further back in the kind of the dust, you can hear other people fighting them. You can hear this kind of like spreading out, but they do seem to be mostly like spreading out from here. So mostly they seem to be past you now, basically moving backwards through the city and encountering other people who are either fighting for their lives or fighting competently against them, or various combinations of those things. So you find yourself behind this kind of spreading wave of the fire possessed. You can hear that there's definitely some other things going on further by the facade, the entry to the Cathedral of Martyrs. And also, I would like all of you, please, to make a vigilant roll at, let's say, -3. Ooh, Steo, get you with your 1.
That's where it makes it.
Scry makes it.
Elindra does.
Oh, well. The 3 of you then, Steo, Elindra, and Askarai, can see that a little away from you, not in the direction of the front of the building, but instead over towards the south, kind of more towards like the edge of this square, which would move more towards the kind of area of the temple district that is kind of where the rich people live. There is a figure kind of ducking in and out of the fog bank a little, who is essentially like you see a number of fire possessed moving towards this figure or moving near this figure, and this figure seems to be moving very swiftly and acrobatically and thrusting out with what seems to be maybe some kind of staff or the haft of a spear or something along those lines. And almost every time it thrusts, an individual kind of like reels around with a knock to the jaw and collapses on the ground, and then kind of groggily starts rolling around or crawling away. They are, in fact, dispersing a number of fire possessed quite elegantly. Steo, for your 1, I will tell you that is definitely an elf.
Bloody heck.
They are slender. They are taller than a human. Their limbs are longer and rangier. That's definitely an elf, or a very elf-like changeling, I suppose. But you think it's an elf. And as I say, there's also some kind of real commotion going on near the front facade of the Cathedral of Martyrs, where the doors are.
So
and Tom seems very focused on moving towards that.
Yeah, I join Anton. I will file the elf away in my little elf folder. But what I will also try and do is, as I have a moment, it seems, of calm, is basically shove a herbal remedy kind of under my bodice and try and
where those burns
some
are.
of the fire.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to do that, so give me that cunning roll.
That is a success.
Okay, then that's whatever your are you on a D6 or a D4?
I'm on a D8.
D8 plus 1 for the herbal cure, right?
No.
Oh no, it's D8 with the herbal cure.
Yeah, it's D8 because it's a herbal cure, and that's a 3, which is disappointing. But sure, that's only 15 XP.
I'm definitely going to allow everyone, by the way, before they take more fire damage, to like. You know what? Actually, let's make this actually fair. Who was still on fire?
And Tom.
Okay. I would like you to make quick rolls. And if you make quick rolls, you avoid all damage. And if you don't make the quick rolls, you have to take one more round of it, whatever it was. However many stacks, just one more round. Steo's good.
Mitigated.
And Tom did not make it and rolled a 4 total on his armor, so it takes 1 more damage.
Including Blessed Shield?
Including Blessed Shield.
Ooh, 1 more damage.
And
Tom.
I failed. Oh, and rolled 4, which is a 2, so 1 damage. Oh, Aaron.
Well,
okay.
While we're taking a very brief breather, I also made a recovery roll and healed D4.
Okay.
Well, 4, in fact. So.
How much damage? What's Antom's toughness like?
He's got 3. I think he might heal himself with his ability.
I was actually going to... Oh, with his laying on hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Give that a try first.
Okay. He's going to try it. He needs to roll resolute, and then it's 1d6. So he does take a bit of crap. Okay, he makes his resolute. And I'll do the healing first.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 6 on healing. So he heals 6. And what is that with corruption? Does he take 1? Does he take more than 1?
The corruption will be 1 level higher than whatever it normally would be. So I imagine for laying on hands, it's a D4. And it's the same scene. Because it's immediately after the fight, just so you know.
Okay. Yeah, he takes 3 more corruption, which is not ideal, but he's still
what's his corruption threshold?
7, and he's on 5.
Yeah, so we need to get to 8 before he starts to. And also, this is now the end of that scene, so go ahead and reduce it down.
And he's now up to 9, so he's close to full again. Okay,
so it sounds like is everyone following Anton towards the front? We're ignoring this mysterious fighting elf for now. Not that the rest of you know it's an elf, but okay.
Can I beg some sort of medical attention from Anton as we're heading towards the front? Or is he very distracted?
He takes a glance at you. How bad do you look again?
I'm now under halfway. I'm 7 out of 15.
Okay. He is going to glance over at you and just kind of blink for a second and say, no time, Sadar, no time, and proffer a now maybe half full bottle. It's been a
I
while
will-
since we had a bit of water of the dusk.
I will make do with this, and I will chew on or slather on one of my herbal cures.
He's offering it you.
I know, and
Look,
I don't want to
look.
take it.
Look, are we going into video game RPG mode? We'll save it for when we really need it, and then when we fight the final boss, we're like, oh, I've got 100 of these. That's all I'm saying.
And Tom is that
Save it
walking room of health and ammo.
Save it until 1d6 damage mitigation will be utterly meaningless.
I'm going to do what Anton said, not what Aaron said, because I am impulsive, and I will sacrifice myself for
Or
the
you
good
could
of
roll.
everyone else.
Or you could roll to decide. But
I literally have impulsive,
Okay.
like as a burden or whatever.
See,
it
to
is.
me, I'd say that impulsive means that you drink it because you're not thinking about it. And
No, it's the first thing he said he does.
Okay.
He does.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, then I guess you recover 1, right? If
Yep.
you're just flying a single heal kill. Okay, good luck. So
Shit.
So we're moving forward towards the entrance. So as you do so, you find that the dusk and smoke are being scattered by the morning breeze. And as it kind of like fades and settles in front of you, you simultaneously discover 2 things. And I'm going to say the people. I'm going to split you into a group of people who are like near. Am I going to do that? No, it doesn't matter. You're all roughly together. Ignore what I'm saying entirely. You can see 2 things on the outer edge of the crater, both proximate to the entrance to the Cathedral of Martyrs, but kind of on different sides of the square from it, right? So they're not happening right next to each other, but they are in front of you at a roughly equivalent distance from you. The first is almost directly in front of you, about 50 meters away. There is a group of 4 or 5 relatively young children, maybe 10 years old or so, who have presumably arrived in the square to out of curiosity, coming to take a look, or maybe they were here already and they're like, we're in one of the buildings. Maybe they're in a nearby building and they're trying to flee. You don't know why they're there, only that they are. Unfortunately, they are staring wide-eyed at the devastation and seem not to notice the rapidly approaching fire-possessed horses that are thundering towards them from the opposite direction to where you are. Kind of coming in from outside the square are 4 large fire-possessed horses that seem intent on trampling them, setting them on fire, what have you. Closer to the center of the area in front of the entrance to the cathedral, you can see 2 figures fighting in what remains of the fog. One is much taller than the other. One of them is kind of comparable in size to perhaps a large ogre, but has a very different, much more human-like build. The other is a human-sized individual in robes. They have, all you can really perceive from here clearly is that they have a shaven head and are holding a staff of some kind. However, I think everyone was present there. If everyone gives a cunning roll at, let's say, a -3, I might give you more clues as to their identity. Just let me know if you make it. Aaron Dar.
Lindra roll a 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Asprey also got a 1. But
Okay.
and we got her 5 as well.
Okay. Everyone who made a general success, that is almost certainly a member of the Ordo Magica, wearing Ordo Magica robes. Who rolled a 1? Ascarai and Alindra? You've met this man before. The individual fighting this giant figure is Grandmaster Seldonio, the Grandmaster of the Ordo Magica, who you met somewhat, well, not briefly really, but, not in a kind of social way, in a tent in the siege camp outside Karvosti. He was quite pleasant to you and seemed to be trying to look out for you a little bit in the circumstance you were in, or at least offered some pertinent advice. He does not look in a good way. He is already down on one knee, and the individual facing him is wielding a equivalently giant blade.
Dio.
You have sorry. I do this. I pause and then it sounds like I finished. Both of these things have a real time limit on them. I am going to start looking at my clock, and I am going to give you 20 seconds to say things in characters to each other, and then you have to decide what to do individually and act on it. That 20 seconds starts now.
I'm going for the children.
We're going for Saldonio.
Steo is already running towards the children.
Okay.
I'm
Yep.
probably yelling, Ascarai! Kill those fucking horses!
Okay. Right. There we go then. Okay. So now we get to decide what happens. It sounds to me like Theo, Arindar are trying to save the children. Elindra and Revelia are running to Saldonio. Ascarai, what are you doing? With the thing is, like, you can probably run a bit forward and kind of be involved in both, albeit not at the same time. So what's Ascarai doing?
How many horses were there?
4.
Oh, that's a lot of horses. Okay,
That's a lot of
Ascarai's gonna take 2 shots at these horses.
Okay. How about what do we think of Anton? I imagine Anton will try and save the children.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so it's just Elindra and Revelia going to try and help Saldonio then. So we'll see how that works out. You know what? Let's do this. Oh God, do we split this up to like? I think we have to try and get through one of these encounters separately and then go to the other one. Because if we try and mix them both, I think we'll run out of time before we do that. So let's start with the horses, shall we? So remove Elindra and Revelia from the order, please, or leave them in, and we'll just say they're moving towards the thing. Leave them in; it's probably easier. The fire-possessed horses have a vigilant, a quick of 13, and a vigilant of 9.
And shall I take the just fire possessed out?
I mean, just put fire. Yeah. Just fire possessed horses, but yeah, there's no fire possessed humans here. It's going to take 2 full turns of movement to get to, like, basically you and the horses are going to arrive at the kids at about the same time. Only if you keep like running, but there's Ascarai.
2 full turns is enough for Ascarai to polish off the entire
He might well
content
polish
bit.
them off in that time. So let's see what happens. So Ascarai, you said your first turn you're holding steady and firing twice, right?
Yeah, at these horses.
Okay.
I'll mark the first one as my hunter's instinct target.
Yeah.
Definitely
Obviously, then. Yeah, definitely not cultural beings. Their defense is a -3. They're moving very fast.
Okay. I did roll a 3, so I do hit them, and that's a D10 and 1D4 damage. +1. That's 11.
11. So that is reduced to that. So that's that. Let me check their Pain threshold. That does not hit their pain threshold. One of them now has an arrow sticking out low in their flank. You think it's probably causing quite a lot of damage. And if this horse wasn't possessed by some kind of fire elemental, it would almost certainly be turning to flee right now. But it is not, so it is not. Like the one you've hit is still standing. Are you firing at that one again?
Yeah, I will go for it again. Okay, that is a hit. And the damage is 7.
Damage is 7. This arrow kind of barely sticks in them. It seems to maybe glance off a bone, and you think it's traced a wound along, like, where they're... Is that still a shoulder? I guess it's a shoulder. The shoulder of the horse is, but it's not actually stuck in them. It is, as I say, really still going.
Okay.
Yeah, the rest of the time is just the horses are coming towards the kids. You're running towards the kids to try and intercept them, unless anyone thinks they're doing anything while they move, but probably not.
I'm going to shout to the kids to get them to come to us.
Okay. Give me that's a good plan. Give me a persuasion roll. These are scared, confused children. Give me a persuasion roll at, I'm going to say -3. You're still an adult. Maybe they just obey you.
And does it help that we have a Thierg with us?
Yeah, you know what? Let's knock another. Let's say that's a -1.
Okay.
Good argument.
So it's a 10 target. It's a 50-50 odds.
Mm-hmm.
13.
Yeah, they're just cowering. You're not even sure they heard you. Okay, you could try again next turn. Maybe will that make a difference? No.
No.
No. Would it? They run that turn and then it would.
Because we run
it would.
and then they'd.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. But I'm assuming that's it for now. I'm assuming no one else is doing anything else. Unfortunately, you can't cast and run. Well, otherwise it wouldn't count as a. You could do it normally, right? You wouldn't have to chop it into actions.
Yeah.
So.
And
I'll admit,
Farron is the same speed as the rest of us, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't have to be. He's probably faster than you. Do you want him to make it there at the end of this round?
Yeah, I'm thinking if he could go forward and kind of distract, like if there's a way that he could draw the horses off by giving them another target.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, we'll see what you can do next round, shall we?
Okay.
All right, let's go to the beginning of the round again. Askarai, are you taking another 2 shots, or are you taking a single armor, ignoring one?
I think. Oh, I'm going to take another 2 shots.
Okay. Presumably going for the wounded one first again.
Yeah, the one that I've already shot. I'm going to keep shooting at.
Man, you do a lot less damage against non-cultural things, huh?
It definitely has
the same way.
Definitely has an impact.
Yeah.
That is a hit. Okay, the damage is 12.
Okay, that's pretty good. Minus that. Okay. You think you're not entirely sure where your arrow hits because you think it hit in the neck, but you're not sure because the horse immediately collapses onto its front, and given the speed it was going, its body starts to cartwheel across the square and kind of collapses into a heap on the ground. That horse is definitely very dead. You shooting for the next one?
I will also mark it again as the Hunter's Instinct target. That is 12, which hits. And then... Not good. 6.
Okay. Yeah, that's again, you're not even sure if that one hit. You think maybe it did, but if it did, it didn't hit hard enough to stick in the horse's tough, fire-coated flesh.
Okay.
So, Okay. Arindar, do you want to give another go at shouting at the children? Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to give you a mounting buff for this. It's more yelling, so just a flat persuasion roll.
Okay.
Persuasive.
Yes. That's a 5 under 11.
Okay. One of them finally sees and hears you, tugs on the other one's kind of garments. And all how many am I going to say there are? There are 4 of them. Are going to kind of climb over the rubble they're in, at the same time see the horses behind them and just run at high speed for you. So they're kind of like running past you. The horses are still coming at you, but basically what this means is that if you stop running now, Askarai is going to get another round of shooting in before those horses collide with you all.
Yep.
And I don't mean to harp on people using long and polearm mastery. You will definitely get your long strikes. You aren't going to knock them back. Like normal horses in their own mind, in their own senses, yeah, sure. These guys, no. They are traveling, like they're galloping fully for you. All you can hope for is to impale them and kill them instantly. They aren't going to shy back and be like knocked back from range.
This is the second cavalry. This is the second cavalry charge we've had this month. So
yeah.
If you count the ride that they're mounted because they're being ridden by fire, then yeah.
Once the children are past us, I'm going to fall in line behind Steo.
Absolutely. Okay, but
Behind
you wanted
Steo, is it?
You got the long.
You wanted Farron to do something, right? Can you have Farron roll persuasive at a -1, please?
Yes.
I haven't had this one before.
He's not very persuasive. He rolled a 20.
I mean, I'm tempted to say one of them is no, because one of them charging for him is what he wants. Because he is skirting around them and like hissing and spitting and kind of like trying to basically like drag them away. I'm going to say he can't make that roll again this next turn. They are paying no attention to him whatsoever. That's what that 20 means. Because I was going to say, that means they are charging for him, but it's like, no, that's exactly what he's trying to get them to do because he's probably faster than them, or at least more nimble. He could go through the rubble or whatever, right? But you
could say, because I probably wouldn't want to draw them off again anyway, because they're coming towards us.
Sure.
Like you could say that maybe he's gone too far and he won't be able to join us until the round after.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say you can't do it again, but your suggestion again, John, I will penalize the group further. Thank you.
I just like things being narratively fair, and sometimes being fair means being mean to me.
Sure. Regardless, being able to lure the kids to you makes it sound way worse than it is. Being able to draw the children to safety behind you means that Askarai is going to get another round of unimpeded fire. So, Askarai, are we going for the one you glanced last time?
Yes, but I think I'm going to try an armor-piercing shot this time.
Sure.
Just to see if it does any better.
You'd have to hope. Still going to be a -3.
That is a 7, so it does hit. And the damage... The damage is 11, ignoring armor.
Okay, that is over its pain threshold. Do you want to get another attack or do you want to knock it prone? I would say that knocking a horse prone while running at high speed is probably going to give you the result you want.
Yeah, I think knocking it prone seems pretty good to me.
Okay. So, was that 11 damage, did you say?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to roll for the horses. Quick. Poor horse. Yeah, the horse collapses in a tangle of limbs as your arrow enters probably its eye, and gives out a kind of braying wail of distress as it rolls on the ground until it kind of collapses, vaguely twitching, half like about probably 20 feet away from you. The other two, however, well, they've made it in. But you know what? We're reaching the end of the session here, and we can start next time with fighting these horses. But what we are going to do is cover the better view of the situation that Elindra and Revelia have as you approach this giant figure facing Grand Master Seldonio. The giant definitely seems to be winning. It is, in fact, raising its mighty two-handed sword for a killing blow as Seldonio crouches on the ground in front of it, seemingly effectively waiting for the strike, his energy and life nearly spent. And there we have, honestly, one of my favorite bits of art in the Darkest Star and in Symbaroum to date. I really like that. The giant seems to be hairless. It is extremely pale, and it has a cloth bound round its eyes as if perhaps blind, or at least not in need of the use of its eyes. There we go. Thanks for watching, folks. That's been Symbaroum this week. As per usual, check the video below. We got a bunch of links and stuff to the usual things. Take a look at those if those are the kind of things that interest you. Or you know what? Even if they're not, just look at them anyway. It makes us happy. We're running a number of things on the channel at the moment, or specifically really two things. Wednesdays is obviously this, it's Symbaroum. Mondays is the Monday Crew, taking you through Masks of Nyarlathotep, the classic campaign for Call of Cthulhu. They've only really just started the main story, because they've been playing the prologue up until this point, which is something just in the latest edition, I believe. So now they're kind of raring to go in Masks of Nyarlathotep proper. So join them for that. Join them before it's over, because famously Masks is a really short campaign. So it won't take, it's just a couple more weeks, I imagine. Is that right, John? Is that the kind of pace?
I think that's what Johnny said.
Yeah, just knock it out. Easy. We also run a number of other things, one-shots. We run a Yellow King campaign. They're on hold at the moment till at least January, because I am busy in a very boring way. So you'll have to hold off and wait for those things to arrive. They will be lovely when they do. In the meantime, why not venture to our YouTube and watch the hundreds of episodes of various role-playing things that we have done. And you know what? Until the other stuff comes back, every week that I am on, I'm going to give you a recommendation for something to go watch, because the hell with it. There's plenty of stuff on there that I think doesn't necessarily get enough views for how much effort was put into it. And it will be a surprise to no one. If you have any interest in the World of Darkness stuff whatsoever, go watch the Cincinnati Chronicles. Just go watch the Cincinnati Chronicles. I put so much work into it. Go watch it. It's great. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Let me play a werewolf again. I'm so sad.
Yeah. Two of the people on Symbaroum were on it. You know? And there's a Pierre, and an Inga, and a Holly. What more could you want? Go watch it. Okay. Sling questions and comments in chat, please, folks. And John, when you're ready, feel free to pop them up. Samuel, how do Antom and Elindra, our Prios worshipping heroes, react to seeing the Cathedral of Martyrs destroyed by a bunch of rocks from the sky? Surely it can't be an omen. Especially not with considering there's definitely no talk about Prios being dead floating around the place. Yeah, I mean, Antom's pretty distraught, but Elindra, how has this hit you in these first moments after the disaster?
I suspect that she's not had time to process it yet, right? Like I think in the heat of it, you're kind of dealing with what's in front of you and not really having time to step back and think about what it all means yet.
Yeah.
So I think for her that's going to come later.
Mm.
I think right now it's it's who can we save?
Yeah.
What good can we get out of this
A
situation?
combination of that, like adrenaline, practicality, and frankly, shock. Probably.
Yeah,
I
think so.
Yeah, running
Is
on
it
auto.
too soon to say a second burning horse has hit the World Children's Center?
Jesus Christ. Oof. Moving on.
Surprisingly, that's the second 9/11 joke this evening.
What?
I wasn't going to put the first one up, but now it's been prompted.
I mean, we
I
still
don't know
don't
where it is
have
anymore.
to, do we?
No, I don't. Next one.
Iridescent area. You don't need to be competent if you're on fire. Yeah, a lot of combat prowess is forgiven. A lack of combat prowess is forgiven if you're on fire and hugging someone. Yeah, absolutely. Don't get food. That old Ambrian saying he wouldn't piss on me if I were possessed by a fire demon. Absolutely.
If that's not a saying, it absolutely should be.
Yeah.
Though just as a note, if you're regularly pissing 5 liters at a time, you should probably go see a urologist.
Please go see a urologist. Yes.
What's the state of urology in Ambria?
Not good.
Shocking.
There's probably a lot of sounding. So, Ranadandra, the fire service, that's how people dealt with it. The fire service in Yndaros is an ogre called Thog who pours beer from a keg over you for 5 shillings. Cheap. How much is the beer worth? That's my question.
Probably less than 5 shillings.
There was a follow-up from this.
If it frees you from fire possession, then everyone is angry because it's evidence that the pub waters down their drinks. Nice.
We also have a recommendation for Cincinnati Chronicles.
Particularly love the Vampire the Masquerade one. Thank you. I very much like the Vampire one as well.
Was the Vampire one the first one as well?
It was.
It was, yeah.
Chris didn't like it because he wasn't in it.
No, I didn't like it because it was vampire. The D&D of World of Darkness.
Brutal.
Oh,
That's the second D&D slander we've had on stream tonight. How unlike us. John, I hope this isn't Warpstone, the meteor. Yeah, could cause problems. Was someone talking about Skaven in general as well?
Yeah, there was one from Ranadandra again, which is someone's going to get stabbed by Skaven.
Yeah. Surprise crossover campaign. I'm gonna fight you, Chris. Yeah.
Controversial vampire opinions.
Look, the rest of us liked Vampire the Masquerade, and liked that specific Vampire the Masquerade. I liked doing that one because I didn't feel like all the arcs we were doing were totally wrapped up in in binding continuity yet. So it was definitely the easiest one for me to write and run.
God, those were the days.
Yeah. Cool. There we go, folks. Thank you very much to my lovely players. Thank you to everyone for watching and hopefully enjoying. I think we are back next week. There's probably a good couple of weeks before Symbaroum breaks for the festive season, I imagine. So we'll let you know when that's the case. And we'll see you next time for more. Goodbye, everybody.